Hi there, Lindsay Lou.
Hi there, Jenny Willie. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm so happy that we're
I
finally
know.
have the opportunity to um, you
Been
know,
a long time coming, hasn't it?
yeah, it's been a minute for sure. I think you were one of the first people I asked if you wanted to do your testimony ages
Oh, yeah.
ago, and it's so nice that we finally have the time to do it now. We just are making it happen between gas appointments and fridge deliveries, and I'm
I
super
know.
grateful.
I know it's been manic. It's been super manic this morning, but we've
I,
got
I
to do
would
this.
I would say, Lindsay, that you're one of the people, maybe the only people who I've done this with that I would actually consider a friend.
Ah,
I develop friendships with people who I have interviewed, but
yeah.
you and I have actually know each other from our New Age to Jesus days, and we've
Yes,
been in each other's life for quite some time. And
I know.
I actually don't know your testimony. I
Do
know
you
where you
know?
are. I know where you are right now because we fellowship together every Saturday, and kind
Mm-hmm.
of, but I don't know your story at all.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm super stoked to be able to listen and to bring this to the people who it might help. I have not interviewed many ex-New Agers. I've noticed like there's a lot of people who are like born into Christianity and then find this path, but I absolutely can't wait. So I'm gonna just let you start where you want to start, and I'm all ears.
Okay, cool. So thanks for having me. Yeah, I guess I should just start at the beginning, basically, a little bit like my background. So I grew up to great parents, and I had like like you go to church and go to Sunday school on a Sunday, but that's it. You don't read the Bible. There's nothing more. It's just something you do as a like an event, a social event. So I did that up until the age of 10. And then my family moved just outside of London. And then that was it. Church was never mentioned again. So I've got no background of like Christianity um, or Jesus. I knew nothing about him, nothing. So from the age of, I'd say about oh, 20 or so, I was quite a party girl when I was younger. I just wanted to have fun, real, just, go to the pub, go to raves. I got into traveling when I think I was 20. I went for the first time to Israel. I went on a kibbutz, lots of really bad vodka or really cheap. Oh, I can even taste it now. Really bad vodka. A lot of, yeah, just a lot of partying and traveling. And I got the travel bug. And when I was there, it started my spiritual journey. So I must have been 20. Um, And I remember looking across a field. I was just walking in the morning. It was that really misty morning, and there was a guy right at the opposite end, and he was doing something I was just fascinated by. And there was someone I was with. What's that guy doing? And it turned out he was doing yoga. And I was like, wow, what's that? Like, I was very innocent, naive. I knew nothing about anything. I didn't even know where Israel was when I went. That's how, like, innocent I was. Um, and then I think about the
So
year later.
you went all the way to Israel to learn about yoga. That's wild, huh?
Yeah,
I do wonder if anyway, we have that whole book that we read
yeah,
anyway.
yeah. Actually, this was my second time. I did go the first time, come back, and then went again a year later. So this time I was 23.
What year was
Saw
that?
this, sorry?
What year would that have been?
Oh, 1996-ish, six, something like that. Um, so saw this guy doing yoga, carried on partying, kind of didn't think too much more of it. Then I went back to England and I was in the library. I saw this Au Pair America thing, went off to be an au pair for a year. Um, and then when I moved, then when the time was up, I came back to England. I went, right, I'm an experienced au pair now. I'm going to move to Paris, France. It's going to be très romantique, and I'm going to live there, right? It wasn't very romantic, like, but then my sole aim was to find out about this yoga. That's kind of what happened. So I started off kind of like, I think I got into Raja yoga, which is meditation, which I can't do. I'm quite like high energy, so I couldn't just sit. I was like, God, this is crazy. And then I got into Shivananda yoga, which is really slow. And then I got into Ashtanga, which really kind of fit my energy level, you know. So I got into it. I did find it really hard at the beginning because it's a lot of balance, composure, breathing, you know, all that kind of stuff. But because I paid for it in advance, the 2 week course, I stuck with it. And that's probably the only reason I stuck with it, was because I paid in advance. So basically, that kind of started me off on, once I got past the 2 week hitch, it was like, oh, wow, it was a bit like a drug, you know, it's my new drug. Went from alcohol to recreational drugs to yoga, you know, I felt amazing. It was wonderful. But then obviously, then you start learning about Reiki. So I did Reiki 1, Reiki 2. Then it was, you know, in all this time, I was still kind of partying in the summer and then being quite like spiritual in the, you know, the rest of the time, because they both don't mix, do they? Alcohol and yoga doesn't mix. And then I moved to Italy for 2 years. And while I was there, I went on a yoga retreat. And I met some guy who was doing this spiritual blueprint. It's called, it had a different name then. It was something to do with Ayurveda, but it's Vedic astrology. And it kind of, you're in a tent, you know, it's all very cool, south of France. And he's basically telling you how you understand yourself. So it's like we're a wheel, and the spiritual part's the hub. It makes up 50% of who you are. And then the other 7 parts of your personality are like the spokes that, you know, it all holds together by this spiritual hub. And you've got like a relating style, which changes when you get married. You've got a physical health, emotional health, and a mental health. You've got career, you've got your dharma, which is like you're standing in the world, you know. So that, I was fascinated. And I got my blueprint done. I went, oh, wow, I wish I'd known this years ago, because then I wouldn't have felt like this, or I wouldn't have done this. It was really, I've got to say, even to this day, it was very accurate and helpful at the time. So then I went on to study that. I went on to study it, and I completed, I think it took 10 months, and then I had to graduate in New York. And I cut this dream trip to Australia, New Zealand short, just to go to graduate in New York, because otherwise I had to wait a year. And my whole thing was, this is my life. This is it. I found it. You know, I was doing all sorts of other little things like, you know, Indian head massage courses, and I was into reflexology, and, you know, all
But
the kind of.
it's so much chasing. I was an Ayurvedic massage therapist and an Ayurvedic lifestyle consultant too.
Yeah.
And it's so much chasing certification, right? You're going to go graduate from all these programs so you can make your life into your career.
Yeah. So I was really, really, really absolutely obsessed with this thing. It was like my thing. But in the meantime, because I was so into yoga and I was a nanny and I was really good with children, this Yoga Kids program popped up. You might have heard of it. It's an American company. And it was, again, fabulous, because it's like putting education. So you're teaching them through movement, but it was yoga poses. So I did that. I went to Chicago, graduated from that. So I had my kind of things, like I'm going to be a yoga kids facilitator and a life blueprint facilitator, or whatever it was called. I can't remember. And it was, honestly, I was just happy, always happy. It was like, I was I am still a happy, fun-loving kind of person. You know, it was just always searching. So I was always looking. I traveled. I went to India on yoga courses. I did 2 different ones. I went to Thailand. I went to South Africa, just looking kind of for why we're here, I guess. You know, like what it wasn't really why we're here, but, you know, there's just like a need to know something, you know. And I do remember, like, I didn't have an upbringing of spirituality or Christianity, but I do remember it must have been about 6 or 7, and I used to ponder the question, what would be here if we weren't here? Why are we here? Like, and I would go around, because it's like a question you can't answer, right? Like, what you know, like what it just blew my mind. I couldn't get my head around it, but I never was really searching. I wasn't a truth seeker, because I didn't know there was such thing as truth. I was just happy being happy and like living my life. So I did the Yoga Kids program. I started doing that in Paris. Like, it was very popular because it's an English. So I was in with the expat community. I'd go to Versailles and do classes and American Library, things like that. And then I went off to Rome. I didn't do any there, but I did move back. Sorry, I moved to Rome. Then I came back and started doing the Yoga Kids and the blueprints. So it was all very just like, yeah, my life's going like this way. Then I eventually moved back to England, and I came back for I think 6 months to 12 months just to be in the same country as my family. And I just ended up staying. I think it's 16 years now, and I'm still here. It's like same flat, kind of. I did 2 little moves, but I'm really solid here. And then when I got here, I really got into like Kaballah. I was actually in a travel company. It was a network marketing company. It was honestly everything I did, even looking back, was a lot of fun. It was all a lot of fun, but I got into this travel company where we just traveled a lot. We went on holiday, did events. It was all personal development, did a lot of personal development, a lot of like law of attraction, manifesting, dream boards, the whole thing, personality tests, the whole thing. I was just really curious about everything. So that was kind of like a different level. I did Landmark, which is also about personal development and being the best you can, your best life now kind of thing. Then I got into, from this travel company, I got into Kaballah because someone said, hey, there's this free meeting, and he invited everyone. And I used to just be a yes person. I would go to anything once. Like it was just, I had to know everything, what's going on, big life. I had to do things. So I went to this Kaballah talk and I was like, oh, this is fascinating. Because again, they're talking about who you are, why you're here, all this kind of stuff. So I joined up for the 10-week course. It was free. And then I went, oh, this is brilliant. I love this. Then signed up for Kaballah 2, 3, 4, 5, and maybe 6, which you pay for. It was all stuff like angels, reincarnation, past lives. It touched on relationships and things like that. In this time, I got a past life regression chart done, and it says things like, oh, in your past life, you drowned under ice water, something. I go, that's why I don't like cold water. How you just try and like connect, go, that's why. It was so vague, but like you want to connect things. I was quite big in, I wouldn't say big into astrology, but like the Vedic Ayurveda thing was based on planets. It wasn't your typical astrology. It was based, so I was like a Mercury spiritual, which is very curious and adaptable, and you can morph into things, and you go along kind of thing. So it was all planetary. So I was more like on the, let's even say, more alternative side of astrology than like mainstream. And then from Kaballah, some reason we used to do Shabbat. We'd go. There was a Friday evening thing, but I never went to that. Saturday, I'd go for 10 a.m., finished at 1, and we'd just be in a room with all the people with the kippahs and the everything, and the men would have the black things wrapped around their arms, and I didn't know what it was. I did all the holidays, all of them. Cost me an absolute fortune. Didn't know what I was doing. I just went along going, this is great. But it was getting
And
to a
what
point.
was there a general kind of stereotype of people that you were in the room with? Were you the only, like, I can say I definitely didn't go in that vein, but I was into the Hinduism vein, and like I was the white girl amongst native Indians. You know what I mean? Like were the people in the Kabbalah, were they Jewish? Because Kabbalah is mystical Judaism. So
Yeah,
were you
there
the one?
was there was a lot of Jewish people. It was their religion. They said, this is our religion. You had a lot of gay men, and I think probably because they were accepted for that lifestyle. There was just people like me, just spiritual seekers. Yeah, just a lot, a lot of people like me. But there was the Jewish who that was we come. It was for us. It's quite recreational. We were serious about it, but it was recreational, and we do all the holidays. But for them, it was their religion. But I was told by my teacher that Kaballah was not Judaism. That's what he told me, and I was like, and I look him, and I was like, oh, okay. But because I didn't know anything, I wasn't looking for an ultimate truth. I was just um, enjoying exploring spirituality. That was my kind of I just wanted to know stuff. I was curious. Then from then on, I did it for 4 years. I mean, they did a lot of good. I'll say they did like helping gardening and decorating people's houses. There was a lot of social activity around it. So I really enjoyed it because I'm English, but I'm not from London. I don't have family here really. No, I don't. No, I don't have family here on the outskirts. So I was like trying to create, like a community, and it was very community based. So I really enjoyed it. But after 4 years, I remember leaving on the Sabbath after Shabbat empty, really, really empty, and I couldn't shake it. It was like I don't know what this is, and I mean, I was really into it. And then all of a sudden, I had a holiday with my mum. We went to south of Spain, and I missed the high holidays, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And that was it. Never went back. That was just it. It was like a cut. And I look back now, and obviously there was a divine, intervention there. But I was very empty with it. It wasn't fulfilling. It satisfied my curiosity, and that's as far as it went. And then when I got to
Can I
when I
interrupt
got
you? Sorry, do you think it's because you didn't really know what was underneath it? Like it seems like you stayed very much on the surface.
yeah,
Probably a good thing that you did, but you never
yeah.
really understood what was going on.
Well, to be fair, I don't think they've really explained. It was a lot of the Sphirot, the 10 Sphirot and the light. And even though apparently it's based on the Torah, right? There was no talk of like God. There was no talk of Moses. There was no talk of the actual scripture. It was all so I feel like it's very vague in itself, like it's not that it's all wish to me now. I look back, it's quite wishy-washy. Other people would disagree maybe, but like there just seemed no substance to it really. It's um yeah. So anyway, then I got into shamanism because that's the next path. So I got into someone. I went for some therapy, and the lady said, "Oh, you're not here for this. You need ayahuasca." And I was like, "What's that?" And she said, "Oh, here's this number. Call this lady." So I called this lady. I had a bad feel. When you have a bad feeling or like an uneasy feeling. But I called her because I'm still a yes person. I'll try anything once. Nothing. Everything was like I didn't see any bad in the world. Do you know what I mean? I didn't realize that that was actually anything bad going on in the world. I knew certain things like the pharmaceutical industry was corrupt and politics was corrupt, but I just kind of in a way parted the Red Sea to it and went, I'm just going to walk through it and not deal with that. Just I'll push it aside. It has no effect on my life whatsoever. And basically, I got into shamanism, did this ayahuasca thing. Again, spent an absolute fortune. I think it cost about £200 like a go. I had to go to Essex and you walk in and it is quite, I look back and I go, how did I think this was normal? Like this woman from Essex is in an orange outfit with a headdress on. She's got all the smells and it's got this potion and it's very ritualistic witchcraft, right? I knew nothing about light or dark. I knew nothing because I just wanted to be happy and I was just curious about stuff. But anyway, the first one was amazing, very like hallucinogenic. It was just like, wow, like this is amazing. Like nothing deep happened, but I thought, oh, I'll go back because I really enjoyed, it was very feeling based spirit, new age, isn't it? It's very feeling based. Oh, this makes me happy. So I like this. But then I think I did four. And it was things like you get like messages, they go, and what do you want from this? And there'd be like some kind of circle, like very ritualistic, very stones, and you put things in, and I was like, oh, I'm looking for my soulmate. And I had this vision of this guy, and he was wearing this jumper, and it ruined about 6 months of my life, because I was looking for a guy with this jumper, and I was convinced I was going to meet him, and if I found this man with this jumper, that was it, you know. And it was like ridiculous. I was always looking like that, you know. And they would do things like beat me with a broom, and then and I like got all these hallucinogenics, and then they'd say in the morning, oh, we put a serpent into your belly. And I was like, oh, okay, great. Like, no idea what the serpent was or represented. I was like, oh, thanks, you know, like, this is totally normal, you're just putting a serpent in my belly, thanks, you know. But then I did the last one, New Year's Eve going into 2020. Then lockdown happened. So that lockdown happened, and basically I was in I went to my mum's. She lives in the northeast on the beach. I start walking her neighbour's dog. He adopted me, who's now here. He's my little dog that's always on my posts. And I just start walking him and his sister, and I would be on the beach. And then it was like something happened. Something was going on. I was very health focused, you know, like very, very health focused. So I knew after 2 weeks something wasn't right with the pandemic. That's when I wanted truth. Only then, in 2020. And then really what I found was Satan. And I didn't know he existed. I don't even know. I was traumatized. The first time in my life I've had trauma, like proper trauma. It was 6 weeks. 6 weeks of going to bed, like lots of sea air. It was me and the dog on the beach, no one else. It was wonderful. Like, I really enjoyed it. But then somebody had said to me on a call on the beach about like adrenochrome and all this kind of stuff in Hollywood. And I was like, say what? You know, like, but I'm not the type of person to just go, well, they're talking nonsense, I don't know what they're talking about, so I dismiss it completely. I don't do that. Then that's probably where it really went deep. And that's when I found out like Satan existed, and it was awful. I just was out all day, full of sea air. It was lovely weather. I'd go to bed, fall asleep, wake up, boom. It was like crying. It went on. My mum was so worried about me. And then she goes, stop looking. I go, but Mum, I found this out. I can't stop. There's like, you can't find out what I found out and now not go any further. You can't just stop it. Now I really need to know what's going on in this world. And basically that led me to all sorts of stuff. And then I found the Truth Unedited History of Religion series. And now I was that person that said, oh, I'm spiritual, not religious. I'm spiritual. Very, very proud of that. Like, I'm spiritual. So when this popped up on YouTube, I'd never even watched YouTube up until that point, ever. I don't think, like, I was obsessed with YouTube from that point, because it was like, you've got no one to talk to, really, have you? You know, you're isolated. And this History of Religion come up, and there's the animation, and here I am, and it was all, and I didn't have a clue what was going on. It was Nimrod over my head. I've heard the word, but don't understand. Babylon over my head, don't understand. And I was like, why am I watching this? It's got religion in the title. This is the furthest thing that I want to watch. But there was something in me just kept going, watching, keep watching, keep watching. I said, it was almost like I was talking to going, fine, I'll keep watching, you know, kept watching it. And then when it got to the bit about Jesus, my stomach started flipping like crazy, to the point I was like looking down my shirt, thinking my stomach was moving. I thought there was like, I was going to see things coming out of my belly. I was freaking out. I was so like, this is not normal. Like, I don't get this at all. So I remember one Monday morning, my mum was upstairs, and on Facebook Messenger, I had this, hold on.
All right, we're back.
My fridge is here.
This is awesome.
So
We're working around the normal life stuff. This is
I
great.
know, right? So, right. So I was at where my stomach was flipping, right? And I remember being a Monday morning, my mum was upstairs, and I remember I had this friend who's from Romania, and I called her a little bit. I didn't really call her it, but I thought she was the crazy Christian because she talked about Jesus. So, because I didn't know what was going on, I basically messaged her. My phone was on charge and I was just messaging her. It was in front of the microwave. And I said, hey, this thing's going on. I'm freaking out. Like I was proper freaking out. And then she said, she asked me if I had a Bible. And I said, I like really, and this is all messenger, so she didn't hear my tone, but I was like, I don't know. I'm at my mum's, that was my attitude. She's like, well, ask your mum. I was like, so I shouted up the stairs while my mum, I don't know if she was cleaning the bathroom or something, but I shouted up, Mum, do we have a Bible? And she said, oh, well, if we do, it's in the dresser. So my mum's got like a kitchen dining room in one. So it's like longish, So I went over to the dresser and I found a little kind of about, a pocket one that my nan had given me when I was about 7 or 8 with my name on it. And I was like, wow, because obviously I didn't want it. I'd left it at my mum's house. So I walked over to the phone to tell my friend I had one, but I was holding this Bible like it was a soiled, disgusting nappy. I was disgusted holding this book, like really, to the point where I threw it on the side by the phone and I spat on my own hands and wiped them on my trousers. Now I'm very hygienic. I wouldn't do that. I was so disgusted by just holding the Holy Bible. Right now I'm like, oh, it makes me cry now. Like at the time, this was a violation of everything I believed in. I went and I wrote back and I went, got one. I was really, really. And she went, have you opened it? Well, I lost my mind. She didn't know because it was just by, typing. And I was like, and I was at the time swore, is she, what she think? I was like, open a Bible, open a Bible. What did she think? What did she, I lost it. And I was so glad that my mum didn't come down because I never swore in front of my mum. I was
Do
losing
you
my
have,
mind.
Lyndsey, do you have a conclusion of what was internally actually going on inside of you at that moment?
Yes, I'll get to it. It was demons. It was the demons didn't want me to open this book. They just were fighting. Do not open this book. This book is not to be trusted. Stay far away from it. But I am never like, because I was such a happy-go-lucky person my entire life. Even when I drank, I never was a angry drunk. I was always like, I love you. Give me a hug. Let's all be friends. I was that person. So this was strange. Anyway, so I went fine. So something again said, open the Bible. Oh, I remember opening this Bible. The feeling will never go away. I opened this Bible and this love, it was like jumped in me, pushed me into the sink, and I didn't know what this was. And I stood with my hands like this, looking up, no clue. This was like from the Father, right? Going, wow. And I was like, I was just overflown with a love I've never experienced in my life. And I had like amazing relationships. I was, never heartbroken. I was loved as a woman. And it was this, I just stood there going, wow. And I don't think I said anything. I didn't know what had happened. All I know is I went, Mom, I'm going to get the dog. Went across the road, got the dog, walked to the beach, and this was in June. This was beginning of June 2020. So people were starting to be on the street a bit. And I remember seeing an old man across the road. And I was like, I love him. I mean, I literally was like, I love that man. Now, I never liked old people. Old people stunk and they were miserable. Do you mean I wasn't an old person? I was young, Peter Pan type. I'm never getting old. I was like, and I just was like, I love that man. Like I had this love, like, because I loved people who were on my path, spiritual, you know, like I could really resonate. If I didn't resonate with you, I'd be nice. I was never horrible. Then I saw a woman rather overweight, and I didn't like fat people either. So I was like, wow, I love this woman. Wow. And I just, everything was in this color, like color. It was like a bit like my first ayahuasca experience, where it was just hallucinogenic, but it was real. I was awake, you know, and no drug. And I went to the beach, and I was like, it was like, I've always loved the beach. I'm a beach water person. And I was like, it was almost like my eyes were opened. I could, you know what I mean? Like that thin veil was taken off. I just had this love that I've never lost it. Like, and when I think of that moment, it almost, it's like his goodness is so good. You're just like, his mercy is so good. You just like, how could you love me as I was in such rebellion, you know? So I was still at my mum's, and all I knew, I didn't know what happened. I didn't know this was from above. I just didn't know. I just knew I was different. All I knew was I needed a proper Bible, because the small one was too small. You couldn't read it. I went back to London the following month. The first thing I did was I went, I think, to Brixton or somewhere, Christian bookshop, which was like the last place you'd expect to find Lyndsey, right? I got Bible. I went home and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like, so it was a whole different thing holding this Bible this time, having given the Holy Spirit, right? Like, it was like a marvel in my hand. I could not wait. I spent a 1 hour every single morning for, I think, 10 months until I'd read the whole thing. I started in Revelation because I wanted to know what happened. Didn't understand a word. I went, oh, that's a bit freaky. So I went to Genesis, which I'm glad now. Genesis all the way through. And I was like, wow, got another one, got the easy one, the NLT, went, wow, got the ESV, got the New King James, read that twice. Now I'm on the Hallelujah scriptures with the, you know, the names in. But there was a sanctification process because I still didn't know what had happened. So that was June 2020. I think it must be in the August. I got my Bible in the July. By August, I think I was in Deuteronomy, and it was only reading Deuteronomy with the 10 Commandments and the bit Deuteronomy 18, 10 to 12. You shall not do mediumship. You shall not talk to the dead. I went to spiritualists after my dad had died. My grandfather came through, my grandmother, because I told them, you will come to me, you know, like I was expecting it. And so I basically had that. Right, I've just totally lost my train of thought. Oh, yes, I got to Deuteronomy 18, 10 to 12. It blew my mind. I went, I'm a dirty, rotten, stinking sinner. How? I thought I was a good, decent human being. And I went, I got on my kitchen floor and I bawled my eyes out for I don't know how long. I was just so unbelievably sorry for every time I've looked at with a man, every boyfriend that I had that wasn't married to, everything. All the spiritual practices I did, every single thing, because I just thought I was just on a journey, right? So basically, I bawled my eyes out, and then I went, everything has to go. I got 12 massive bin bags, like the big bin, but 26 of them. Threw everything out. I didn't sell it. I didn't recycle it. It just went all in the bin. And I put it outside, and I think that was a Friday, and the bin comes on a Monday. I was at my window like that, making sure the bin men took every single bag. The minute the bin men went, I had this sense of lightness, like, because what I realized was I had about 10 shelves of books of astrology and tarot, like I did angel cards and things like that, angel cards and dream catchers and numerology and all this kind of stuff, to know stuff. And It was so much. It was so overwhelming. So a lot of it I didn't even read. I get to, all these books on how to manifest things. There was so much of much, that it was like, and then I realized I spent £15 or less on a Bible, and that was all I needed. And then it was the sanctification process continued. I was seeing a guy, I'd been seeing a guy for, it'd been like, I don't know, a long relationship, kind of on and off. Anyway, he thought he was Muslim, and now I'd found God, and he was like, yes, we can get married. Then I was like, oh no, we can't be unequally yoked. Like it was this. And I just went, cut. It was just, no, it wasn't even, there was no, it was just no. And with this guy, a really interesting thing I'd done was I got really into like the Akashic cord cutting, because I'd had relationship. I wouldn't say relationship issues, but we got on very well. But I don't know, something about him. Like he was very attached to me. Really wouldn't let me go. We'd broke up years ago, but he would not let me go. It was very heavy and annoying. So from the shaman stuff, I got into doing these Akashic cord cutting. And when I'd done this cord cutting with this lady over the phone, and the cord was cut, I got a call from him shortly afterwards, borderline suicidal. He was he was the most happy-go-lucky man ever. I mean, if he was a born-again believer, I'd have married him. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was so happy-go-lucky, never got offended. And he was so borderline suicidal. He was like, I want to kill myself. I was like, and then I thought, and he's going, you've done black magic. And I was like, oh, don't be ridiculous. Like, of course I haven't done black magic. I'm not into magic, not realizing there's black magic where you worship Satan and you want to do evil, and there's white magic where you're messing with the spirit realm you know nothing about, right? And I didn't know the difference in the slightest. It was only afterwards, through this sanctification process, where I realized I apologized to him. He still thinks I've done black magic on him. You can't speak to him about it, but I felt so bad that I'd messed with something and really messed with someone's soul, like it really affected him. But anyway, I ended that. It was a very no, I found God now and I cannot be unequally yoked. So it was reading Deuteronomy, particularly. I love that book. I think it's my favorite book, purely because it was such a slap around the face, and it was a slap around the face that I love. It's tough love, I love it. You can't tell me subtly, by the way, Lyndsey, if you do this, this will happen. And I'll just be like, yeah, I'm not, you need to go whack. I have to be made. I used to be a bit of a daydreamer, I was always thinking about stuff. So that was a slap around my face, and I really needed it. And so it was right, can't do yoga, quit the yoga kids, had to quit my blueprints. And that had become a source of income. I just started sharing it with the shaman group, and it was just about to go off because something had always stopped it before. I put a lot of money in it, put a lot of time in it, and people within that community really, really loved it. And I was like, and this is when I thought, I've made, this is it. My whole spiritual career is going to take off. And then this happened, but it didn't bother me, because I wanted the truth. I wanted the Father. But the last thing for me to go really was reincarnation. I really struggled with reincarnation. Made a lot of sense. I'd read all the books, the stories. But basically what I realized was that demons work in us to keep, Satan basically worked in us to keep us away from Jesus, of knowing him. And he creates all these different paths and things that we love and we attach ourselves to, so that we follow that path and we don't even hear the voice of God calling us, the Father. So it actually, that was I think that was my only struggle. Everything else was gone. That was but it makes sense. It was my last, thread to that past. But I think I got to Hebrews 9:27. It's probably the only Bible verse I remember. It's we are appointed for man to die once, then the judgment. And then when I read that, it was like, there is no reincarnation. There's none. And it's Satan trying to make you think that you've got multiple chances at this life to get it right. And we don't. It's this life that matters. So yeah, that was the journey. I just gave everything up. And yeah, so then it was a bit like I was a bit lost. I was doing like a sales job before lockdown, took voluntary redundancy. I'm not a salesperson, I ended up just chatting at the door and, oh, you got a dog, it wasn't, I'm a person to person, so then it kind of came down to, well, I can't do yoga kids, I can't do my blueprints, I can't do this other thing I was doing, I can't do any of it. So I went back to like afternoon nannying, just 3 afternoons a week, and it was a bit like going backwards, but at the same time it's like liberating because you've got rid of stuff I was meddling in. I should have had no place meddling in. So then life became very, very simple. So it went from massively huge before lockdown to lockdown, obviously smaller, finding the God. And my life is literally God, dogs. And I'm now a dog walker, dog boarder, dogs and God, and speaking to people about the father, the God, and I'm like so much more balanced. Even my oldest closest friends who knew me through everything are like, wow, they're not on that path, but they're like, wow, you're just happy. There's none of this seeking highs, and I was never depressed. I wasn't like
it's the simplicity of it too, right? Like when you talk about ditching an entire bookcase or library and having just one, it's just kind of a metaphor for the whole.
I think I've got 5 Bibles now, 2 concordances, about 7 books. But I don't even read books now. Like, give me my Bible. So I'm still an absolute avid reader. I get up, wash my hands, go to the bathroom, get back into bed with my Bible, and if I'm starting work early, I could set my alarm for 5 a.m. so I can read my Bible before I go out. I will not. So it used to be doing yoga. That would be my priority, my health. If you see me stretching, it's like I'll do that in the morning. I'm like, yep, I'm good. I can still touch my toes, but I was like Miss Bendy yoga. Thought I was going to be doing yoga till I was 84, doing back bends. I really thought I was yoga, and had I chosen a religion, I would have been Hindu. Like that would have been my religion. So yeah, that was kind of how I came to discover the ultimate truth, that is Jesus Christ, Messiah, who is just like, and it's not easy. It's not always easy. If I could marry my ex-boyfriend, he could do all my DIY. He could do things for me. He could look after me. He's got a good job. And Satan comes and uses him, though. He'll call up every now and then from a new number or unknown number and wants to meet up. And his voice changes. It's not him. It's spooky. And he says things to try and tempt me into the past. You have nothing on me. Nothing. That's like, when that moment happened, I don't want to travel anymore. I'm not interested in men. He took every desire from me because that was my biggest probably sin, having too many boyfriends, you know what I mean? But it was all like fun, travel, experience, just took it flat from me. Like, I'm single, but I'd now like a born again believing Torah observant husband, but only not because of those kind of desires, but because I want to do it right. I feel like, I did so much of my life wrong, obviously I have my testimony, which brought me to the moment, and like, I'll never, ever, ever but and you go, oh man, I could have like had the husband and had the children I never wanted. I kind of did and didn't, and lived that godly life that I've kind of missed out on now,
No, I just don't agree because you're not at the end of it. And as you know, with my story, stuff happens so quickly in his timing. Overnight, it can happen.
It's true, but I mean, to be fair, like I don't. I mean, Abba can work in anyway, but like I don't go anywhere to meet a Torah observant. I mean, I left church the end of this year, so that was another part. Really, was last year about September. I start getting very heavy heart about why we don't keep the fourth commandment. Really heavy, and I'd speak to people. I'm like, why don't we keep the fourth commandment? It's there. Oh, it's done away with. I'm going, why? It's in the 10 commandments. Surely, if it was going to be done away with, it would not be in the 10 big commandments. And then I had two really good born again believing friends fall out with me, don't want to be your friend kind of thing, because I was looking into Sabbath, not even keeping it, looking into it. And I was like, wow. And it did it hurt? One did, one not so much. I was like, that's your loss kind of thing, but when so from January, I did try and keep some before the end of the year, but I didn't know what I was doing, and it was a burden, and I didn't know anybody who was doing it. And then just January, I think it was the 3rd or the 4th, I went, that's it, Sabbath, I'm keeping it. And that's again now changed my life. That's like my second biggest blessing after meeting Jesus, was discovering the law is not done away with, and that Sabbath is the biggest blessing. It's like I cry when it's getting to about 3-4 p.m. on a Saturday because it's almost coming to a close. I'm like, no, it's my favorite day of any day of anything. Like, I love it so much. It's the biggest blessing ever to spend the whole day with the Father, have nowhere to go. Just know that is, I'm not trying to accomplish anything, like before Sabbath, I was always like, oh, I didn't do anything today, and I feel really guilty. Now I'm like, if I get back into bed with my Bible and I fall asleep for an hour, I'm like, thank you, I needed that. It's like the biggest blessing. So that added a whole different thing. And then obviously I left the church because I just couldn't be around. Oh, it was a Pentecostal church. There was a lot of twisting of scripture anyway, and female pastors and the whole thing. And I didn't like that anyway. But because I wanted the fellowship, I stayed despite all that. And then when this happened, obviously I had the dog, and that was becoming like, I couldn't go to church because I couldn't leave him. And it was just like the Father, Abba, just used that dog to distance me from the good music and because it was a bit, to be fair, it was a bit like a rave for me, like I was dancing, I was worshiping. I mean, I was really touched by the Spirit, but it wasn't right. You know what I mean? It wasn't quite right. So now it's a whole different thing. He brought the dog into my life to separate me. So I had that distance. And that just became more like, oh, after the blissful bubble I've been in of a Sabbath with the day with him, not the dog, the Father, I didn't want to go to church and rush around and listen to loud music. And I did it once, and it was like, it was painful. So now life's got smaller again. I don't have the fellowship. Almost no fellowship anymore with believers, purely because I think there's one who still is really nice and graceful and has mercy. But the rest just have gone, she's on that path. But it's like, oh, I'd rather follow the truth. And I thought Jesus was the end of it. And it's like, whoa, there's a whole new world opens when you realize. And then now the Bible is a whole new book, from realizing that, because I used to wonder, what does this apply to me? Why does that not apply to me, but that applies? But if that applies, why doesn't that apply to me? And I love the Old Testament, and I was always confused. And now it's like, it all applies, unless it's for men or for donkeys. I'm obviously not a male donkey. So makes that much more easier now. So it's a whole different book again. It's like it every time you read it, it's just, and I'm like, thank you. Every day I'm just like, thank you, thank you. So it's a whole different level now of worship that doesn't require loud music. It's more, so yeah, so it's been a real journey, and definitely my path, it's very narrow. It's a very, very narrow kind of lonely path, but I've got this fellowship group, which is a big blessing. And we have the Father, we have the Holy Spirit, we have our Messiah, we have things to look forward to. And for that, I would never, ever go back to that old life for nothing.
It
Not
just
worth.
made me re I Lyndsey, I relate. Our stories are so similar. It's incredible. But you're making me realize that for some of us, especially those of us who are social butterfly, life of the party kind of people, when we
Mm,
get reined in and we have pretty much only just him in real life. I have
yeah,
the fellowship with you guys, and
yeah,
I have a husband who's on the same path who lives many, many miles away in another country,
yeah,
so most of the time it's me, the
yeah.
Bible. But
But then you
that's what
go,
we need.
what do you need really more than that? I mean, fellowship in person would be amazing. I've just booked my first Sukkot this morning. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Like to be with fellow believers.
Where are you going? What are you doing?
Scotland. Scotland. I can't wait. I'm literally like, because you
Where?
read
Where in Scotland? I'm coming, man. I lived in Scotland for 2 years and I've been wanting to go
west
back.
west coast near Dumfries. I've never been.
I can't
Um,
believe it. Send me the link. I'm so excited for
there's no
you.
link. It's via a friend who's just said. So I've got one Torah observant, believing friend in England. You know her; she's your friend as well, on Facebook, and she knows someone who did it last year, and I am beyond excited to be with believers who believe what I believe.
Is she going to?
She's going to, yeah, and it's like, so I'm going to meet her. So this will be my first Torah observant friend. This is huge. It's easy to meet believers. That's not that hard. To meet a Torah observant believer who loves the Father as much as Jesus is like, ah. So I'm literally like, I've got to take almost 2 weeks off work. I don't get paid, and I'm like, he's gonna provide. I've got no doubt. He's just gonna, no doubt, because this is, we'll be doing this in, the New Jerusalem. This is our life to come, isn't it? And I'm just so, I just, when you sometimes just think, why me? Why didn't the veil or the scales come off my eyes and other people don't? And
I
it's a
have an
gratitude.
answer. I
Oh,
know why.
okay. Why?
Because you are actually seeking the truth, and those who don't will never see it.
And it's funny because
You
I know
have
many
been,
truth seekers who stop at Jesus where I wasn't seeking truth. That was not my goal in life. But then when I had that in, that, oh my gosh, Satan's real, that's when I went, I want to know the truth no matter
it's
what.
so
Like for me,
strange, like for those of us who are in the world that we were in, and then, like you said, when you read Deuteronomy, why they just stop at 1 or 2 points and they
yeah.
don't realize that the 5 books apply to them.
And the
And there's
blessings
so many of
and
them.
the curses.
The whole New Age to Jesus thing is so mind-boggling for me because they arrive at a certain point, and like we both determined, I used to think he was the end of the rabbit hole, but he's
Yeah,
the
yeah,
beginning. And there's all of this
yeah.
richness to unfold, and they just don't want it.
It really is. I just don't. I honestly, I don't. It's the most beautiful path ever. It really is difficult. It's not, yeah, as I said, it's not always easy, but you would never swap it for anything, would you? You could never go, like, you would never go back to your wild ways after meeting Jesus, and then you would never go back to not keeping Sabbath after finding out this is, oh, there's a helicopter in my area looking for me. That crazy Torah observant believer. So you would never go back, and it's just the most wonderful, wonderful journey ever. And the gratitude is just, I just wake up almost every day going, wow, like, I just can't believe it. yeah, so there you go. That's my little
Oh,
little big journey.
thank you so much, Lyndsey. What a treat. I'm so happy that we finally made the time to do
I
this.
know. And the gas man hasn't even been.
Oh, there you
Unless
go.
he
We
has and
gotta,
I didn't hear him.
well, hopefully he arrives soon and you can settle in for this evening because here's your rest. This is what we got ahead of us, and
Yeah.
um,
Get some food ready for tomorrow.
yeah, I'll see you tomorrow afternoon.
Yes, I can't wait.
Have
Thank
a
you
great
so
evening.
much.
Thank you.
Have a fab Friday and see you tomorrow.
Yeah, girl. Bye.
Bye.